Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So with the debt ceiling issue now out of the way, lawmakers can now once again turn their full attention to the other glooming problem within Social Security, and that is if we get to 2035 and we don't make any changes to the program how it currently is, unfortunately the program is going to go insolvent, which means whatever you're receiving in 2035, you're going to be receiving a benefit cut of up to 25%, which quite frankly is just unacceptable. Thankfully, there is one plan that was just released in a bill by one lawmaker that would make some changes, some really good changes to Social Security. And one of these changes is a benefit increase of over $400 for some recipients. So we're going to be discussing this bill, what it does, any chances of it passing, and perhaps if it even is worth passing. We're going to talk about that as well. But before I go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so once again, right now there are numerous different dates that perhaps Social Security will go insolvent by. Some people say as early as perhaps 2032 or 2033. Others project as late as perhaps like 2035. But this is a glooming problem. Even though 10 years may seem like it's a long ways away, it seems like when you get older, time just goes by faster and faster. So they really need to get a fix in place right now. We cannot wait until the final months like we did with the debt ceiling. So some changes definitely need to take place, whether it's taking in more revenue by raising taxes or some type of benefit cut, which obviously either option is not really something that we want to do, but we definitely do need to come up with some type of fix. So according to Go Banking Rates, this is what Social Security could look like in 2035. So they say this is why Social Security is in trouble. So part of the problem can be attributed to longer life expectancies, a smaller working age population, and an increase in the number of retirees. By 2035, the number of Americans 65 and older will increase to more than 78 million from about 56 million today. As a result, more people will be taking money out of the Social Security system, but there will be fewer people paying into it. So that's really, in the grand scheme of things, the biggest issue here. There's going to be fewer people paying into the Social Security system, and there's going to be more people at that retirement age collecting from the Social Security system. So obviously there is going to be a shortfall there. They need to come up with some sort of solution, but like I mentioned, a 25% cut is definitely unacceptable. I mean, that would mean if you're receiving, let's say, $2,000 per month, that would be a cut down to $1,500 per month. That would be a $500 cut. Something that we definitely don't want if nothing is done about this current problem. That would obviously set your COLA back a number of years. All the COLAs that you were collecting over the years, you would have a huge COLA decrease if nothing is done about this issue. But thankfully, like I mentioned, there is one lawmaker that is trying to do something about that. He recently re-released this bill. He had it in the prior Congress and it had a lot of support, but he's re-releasing it and he's hoping to get it passed. So here are some of the changes that this bill is actually going to do. And like I mentioned, if it is passed, there is going to be a $400 increase for some beneficiaries of Social Security. So let's go ahead and dive into it. And I'm just going to highlight some of the most important changes that this bill would do. So according to the Social Security Intelligence website, the Social Security 2100 Act, 14 things that will change. So the first change that it would make is to prevent future cuts to the average wage index. So first up is a provision that will prevent future reductions to the average wage index. This index is based on the average wages of Americans, and it controls multiple pieces of the Social Security system, including the annual formula by which benefits are calculated. This change will prevent the average wage index from being reduced if we get into a period where wages fall. It would ensure that the Social Security formula will not produce a lower benefit because a wage changes, and line up with most other Social Security provisions which prohibit an annual decrease. This change would be permanent. In addition to preventing future reductions to the average wage index, this bill would also have some built-in increases added on top of the normal computed level. In addition to that, the second change that this bill would give is to earn credits for caregivers. So the goal of providing earning credits for caregivers is to provide retirement compensation and Social Security credits to those who had to leave the workforce to care for loved ones, whether an ill child under the age of 12 or a chronically dependent relative. People can receive up to 5 years of credit towards future Social Security benefits under this bill. This, of course, would expire at the end of 2026. So if you had to leave the workforce to care for a loved one, you would not be hurt by missing out on all those Social Security credits. By leaving your job to do that, you could still collect them while taking care of your loved ones. So that would be obviously beneficial as well. The third change this bill would make is to eliminate the disability waiting period. So under current law, disabled workers and disabled widowers must be disabled for 5 months after their disability onset date before receiving Social Security disability benefits. Under the new law, this waiting period would be eliminated and Social Security monthly benefits would become available beginning with the first full month after the onset of disability. This would expire at the end of 2026, so it would only be effective for those who became entitled to disability benefits between 2022 through the end of 2026. The fourth change this bill would make is to eliminate the disability earnings cliff. So another disability provision is the elimination of the disability earnings cliff. The way this disability earnings cliff currently works is that when individuals receiving disability benefits go over a certain earnings amount for a certain period of time, they go into what's called an extended period of eligibility. During this 36-month period, if monthly earnings are over the substantial gainful activity threshold, even by $1, benefits are withheld for that month. Once that 36-month period is over, if earnings go over the threshold, even by $1, the disability benefit is completely terminated. The new law would remove the cliff and would simply reduce the disability payment by $1 for every $2 over the limit, in much the same way early Social Security benefits are reduced with the earnings limit. Now, the fifth way in which this bill would change Social Security benefits, and the reason a lot of you guys probably clicked on the video, is yes, benefits could increase by some people by as much as $440. So the fifth way is to increase the minimum Social Security benefit. So one of the proposals contained in nearly every version of the Social Security 2100 Act is the increase to the minimum Social Security benefit. So the new minimum benefit will be 125% of the poverty level for those who worked for 30 years, with the 2021 federal poverty level of $12,880. This change would represent an increase of about $440 per month. This would sunset at the end of 2026. So obviously $440 per month more, that would be life-changing. That pretty much takes care of a lot of your bills, probably take care of your grocery bill along with several other things. So obviously this would be a great change. Let me know in the comment section below, do you think $440 per month for you more, if this would apply to you, would be life-changing? Would it need to be more? I mean, $440, that would be a great increase. In addition to that, it would also increase benefits after 15 years of eligibility. So individuals that have been receiving Social Security benefits for 15 years will receive a 1% increase to their primary insurance amount and will continue to the 20th year, which will result in a 5% increase. In addition, any spousal or children's benefits paid from someone receiving these increases would also increase. So you can see the chart up on the screen. By the 20th year, after 5 years, you would receive your regular benefit plus 5%. Now, another change, just skipping ahead here, of course, to fund all these different increases, there would be an increase of the taxable wage base. So right now, in this year, you only pay Social Security tax on the first $160,200 that you earn. If this bill were to pass, you would once again have to pay Social Security payroll tax on any income above $400,000. So you would pay Social Security tax on the first $160,200 that you earn, then nothing between $160,200 and $400,000, and then anything over $400,000, you'd once again have to pay the payroll tax of anywhere between 6.2 to 12.4%. Now, the 12th change that this bill would make is it would also change to the taxation of Social Security benefits. So under current law, you can see the tax brackets up on the screen, and then you can see the new change. So then for single individuals, you would not be taxed on any of your Social Security income up to $35,000. And for married couples filing jointly, that number would be up to $50,000 per year. And then of course, they would also have a change the way in which the COLAs are calculated. So right now they use a formula called the CPIW. They would change this over to the CPIE if this bill were to pass. And each and every year, on average at least, the CPIE is generally a little bit higher. So pretty much that means that every year you would be receiving slightly higher increases, again, if this bill were to pass. And then also there's going to be an across-the-board benefit increase. So one of the proposals that gets a lot of attention in this proposal is the across-the-board increase to Social Security benefits. For this to happen, the Social Security formula will need to undergo a slight change. And they say here that the estimate is that benefits will increase by an average benefit of right around $30 per person. So those are pretty much the main changes, the biggest change to this bill. Of course, a $440 increase is pretty much the highlight to this for those who currently receive the special minimum benefit. However, even though a lot of those things are really good things, there are a couple of different problems with this bill that, at least in my mind, really stand out. The first real issue with this bill is the fact that it really only extends solvency for another 4 years. So they say that if this bill passes, it would extend the solvency date to 2039 from 2035. So at 2039, again, we would be facing that problem where we would have to be cutting benefits by right around 25% to continue paying them out. So really, that just kicks the can down the road another 4 years. It really makes you wonder whether or not it's worth it passing this bill and receiving all these great increases if we're just going to have to cut benefits by 25% come 2039, or come up with another fix where we're going to have to cut all these benefits after getting used to them. And then, that's pretty much problematic as well. The second issue that I see with this bill is, yes, it was introduced first in the last Congress from 2021 through 2022. It gained a ton of support. You can see up on the screen it had over 200 co-sponsors, which is a lot of people. But the problem is, if you look who the co-sponsors actually are, they all happen to be Democrats. And in order to get really any bill passed through Congress, especially this Congress, it needs to be a bipartisan bill. That means that you need to have both Democrats and Republicans in support of the bill, but they don't have any Republicans in support of the bill. So until they can get Republicans on board with the bill, and then of course any bill that Republicans support, Democrats will have to support as well. Until they can do that, until they can have a bill that has bipartisan support, it really doesn't stand much of a chance of passing. But I am definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and comments below. Do you like this bill? Do you dislike it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are down below. Always love to read them. But that's all the news that I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.